What's up, everybody? This is the Only Hoops podcast, and I am your host, Jeff Bell. I am back, and I have a short one for you today, so I'm not calling this episode 8. I'm going to call it episode 7.5 because this is just going to be a short little audio podcast for you guys today, talking about some news and some next steps for the podcast. So really excited about some things I have on the horizon for the podcast, and just wanted to share that with you guys before I release my next episode. So gonna get right into it. The first piece of news that I have is that the podcast is now on Spotify and Apple Music. So the two main platforms in which people consume podcasts these days, the Only Hoops podcast is there. Please go ahead, and if you use any of those two streaming services for your podcast, go ahead and search me up in the search bar, the Only Hoops podcast, with spaces in between each word. Please go ahead and follow me. Leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating, whatever you so choose. Please do so. Anything that you guys are going to provide me is just going to make the podcast even better moving forward. If you think the podcast sucks and you want to rate it 1 or 2 stars, go ahead and do so. I would love to hear your reason why. I would love to see your rating. If you think the podcast is great and it's one of the best things you ever listened to, rate it 5 stars. I want you guys to be honest, the honesty in your ratings. If you do so choose to leave a comment or a review, that stuff is just going to help me and make the podcast better moving forward. So please be honest in what you so choose to do, if you so choose to do it. But I'm very happy that the whole growth of the podcast can occur on these two platforms. Like I said, these are the two biggest streaming platforms in terms of podcasts. And actually, the process to get on there was not hard at all. So all I really needed to do was find and create something called an RSS feed. It's just something where you can basically house all the episodes of your podcast. And for you to do that, you need to find a podcast housing service. And I actually found one called Red Circle. So shout out Red Circle. It's free. You can upload unlimited amounts of audio and they'll house all of it for you. So, if I wanted to do a podcast every single day, I could do so and house it all there. A lot of the other websites, if you do a free plan, you can only house, a certain number of hours of audio per week or per month. So Red Circle, really awesome. They do unlimited, audio housing. So as much episodes as I can get out in the time I have, I'll be able to do so with Red Circle. So big shout out to them. The next step after that was just basically submitting that RSS feed that I got from the Red Circle website and submitting it to Apple Music and Spotify. And that process was super easy. I'm pretty sure they accept pretty much anyone. But once I did that, I got pretty much approved right away. So actually, if you were to go on Spotify right now or Apple Podcasts and you typed in the Only Hoops podcast, you will see our last episode, episode 7. That's the first episode that starts out. It's the only MP3 files that I have saved. I don't have the previous episodes MP3 saved, so I didn't upload those yet. So the first episode on there is the We Are Back episode. But yeah, that's on there. This one is going to be on there as well. So you may be listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music now that I've tweeted out about it and stuff like that. So welcome. And then next, I'm just going to talk about, what's going to happen with the YouTube channel as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So Apple Podcasts and Spotify are going to house all of the audio podcast episodes. So every single episode that I record, just the audio is going to go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now, I am looking to transition the YouTube channel into videos. So what that will be is just basically video of the podcast. So instead of just hearing me, do everything, you can actually watch me if you so choose. Don't know how popular that's going to be, but I felt like I'd provide that option. That's going to be really good for some other things that we have coming up and some other plans that I'm interested in. So that will be good if you so choose and you want to watch. With going off of that and some of the things I have coming up, interviews are going to be back for the podcast, and not the next episode, but the episode that I record after that is going to be an interview with 2 of my friends from high school, both teammates of mine. Both have a very extensive basketball background, and both have very good stories and can express how the game of basketball has shaped their life in a very positive way. One of them has connections to one of the biggest storylines in college basketball in 2022. So really excited to bring that aspect to the podcast as well. Talk to him about that. So looking forward to that. It's going to be really good content. And that's going to be a perfect starting point for the video episodes. So that's probably going to be the first video that's uploaded to YouTube so you can watch our conversation. And then if you so choose to just want to listen to it, that's where Apple Podcasts and Spotify comes in. So really happy that that's now an option as well. Just going to transition now into some of the other things that I want to do in the channel on YouTube specifically. So obviously the interviews are some things that I want to do. I also want to do some segments like maybe, doing like a top 100 NBA player draft with, a guest or someone else. So I think those type of segments would be fun and interesting for everyone to watch. I also want to, and was thinking about maybe doing like watch-alongs. So big games, maybe doing, watch-alongs to those in which we're live reacting to, NBA playoff game, whatever it may be. That's another thing that the YouTube channel could be good for. And then lastly, another one is just kind of like a, like a coach's perspective on stuff. So going into, either video clips I have from, high school basketball or reacting to some NBA stuff or college basketball stuff, just kind of watching different videos, maybe highlights, full game clips of different things and just kind of giving my perspective on some of my experiences and what I've seen and things along those lines. I think that'd be a really fun thing to do on the YouTube channel. Like I said, that's going to be where it's mostly video. So, being able to see all that stuff will be really important. And then if you just want to, listen to it, that's where the two other platforms come in. Okay, that's going to finish up this episode. Like I said, it's going to be super short. Really excited about being on Spotify and Apple Music. So again, if you have any of those two streaming services and that's where you get your podcast, go follow me, The Only Hoops Podcast. The links can be found on this YouTube video in the description. Also can be found on my social media pages. So please, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow those. On Twitter, the username is @onlyhoops_. And on Instagram, it's The Only Hoops Podcast, no spaces. So please, if you haven't, go follow me on social media. Again, go leave a rating, comment, review, whatever you so choose on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I'm really excited about the growth of the podcast. Thank you, everyone who has been listening, who has been liking my YouTube videos, who's been supporting me. It all really means a lot. Any engagements, whether it's a like tweet or a like to post on Instagram or a like on a YouTube video, really keeps me going. And, I really want to spread my love for the game of basketball with more people. And now being able to be on these different services is really key. In everything that I want to achieve moving forward with the podcast. So thank you again. And that's going to conclude this episode. I will see you later on this week with another episode. And then the following week, we will have our first interview back on the podcast. Thank you and have a great day.